Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai. All praise unto Yahweh, Shimi Al-Shai, Waharu Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone, and honors you brothers that are pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. So back out here again, alright, through the grace and mercy of Yahweh, Shimi Al-Shai, to get into the scriptures, the prophecies, current events, politics, news, all that. Okay, with the express intent and purpose of teaching the word of the Lord, okay, which is the instructions that's been given unto the men of the Lord, which is to go out here and teach the word. And part of the signs that you was going to be in the end times was that what? That the teachers of the truth, okay, the teachers of the truth was going to be out here. All right, you got it to where Esau right now, he's in control of the world, the known world right now, and one of the main things that he does to keep a grip on his power, which we're going to go into a little bit of the grip on power that he's got, okay, regarding the economy and how they're losing the grip, their so-called economic advantage that they had for the longest over the world, and as a result, you're having it to where what? You're having it to where you have a power instability within the world, where you got a lot of people now, okay, they're favoring what? They're favoring alternative currencies, man. Because you had it to where the dollar was the reserve currency for the longest. Now the reality is that other countries are on the come up. Okay, they're using other currencies, so you can understand. So continuing on with what I was saying is, pretty much you got it to where Esau ruled the world in deception. Okay, I'm gonna read the scripture here to prove that. And then now you got it to where what? The teachers, okay, the teachers of the world. Okay, the teachers of the word of Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai are here revealing, okay, those lies. And that's a major threat. And that's why you go into the book of Mark, the 13th chapter, one of the things that was stated is that there was going to be a lot of beheading of the teachers of the truth, right, on account of testimony of Yahweh Shai. So let's go to the book of Job, the 9th chapter, on the 24th verse. And then I go into the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter, and then I go in the spirit. I got an article I wanted to use a little bit later on. I'll get into that when I get into that. So starting here within the book of Job, the 20th chapter, Job 9 and 24, and this is one of the major deceptions that's been played out here on the earth, is that the true people of the Most High, all right, basically their identity has been covered. Now I just did a video recently going into the fact that what? Going into the fact that pretty much you got it to where, all right, the people that are out there within the land of Israel, they're claiming that they're the real Jews of the Most High, but in actuality, they don't fit the prophecy. What does fit the prophecy is that what? The Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, the 12 tribes of Israel, they're the real people of the Most High because the prophecy fits them, okay? Now check out what happened, what the scripture says. The book of Job 9 and 24, it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Now, who is the wicked? Well, you first have to identify who is the righteous. Right now, in order to identify who the righteous is, you have to identify what the code, okay, or what the standard of righteousness is all about. And the code of righteousness comes from the Most High by way of what? By way of the laws, statutes, commandments that he's put in the scriptures, okay? So you go into the history of Moses and how Moses took the people out of Egypt and how he made, basically they made a covenant with Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai by way of what? By way of sacrifice. And there was basically a statement that was made that the Lord said that what? You're going to keep to these laws, statutes, commandments, and if you keep to these laws, statutes, commandments, then you was going to be blessed. But if you wasn't going to keep to the laws, statutes, and commandments, you was going to be cursed. Okay, that's where you get the prophecy, and that's how we can identify who the Israelites and who's not the Israelites. But that's also, too, how we can identify who the wicked is. Because if the scripture says, thou shalt not kill, and you see someone killing, by way of the spiritual and scriptural deduction, that makes you the wicked. If you go to where the scripture says, don't bear false witness, and you got a guy bearing false witness, that means that guy is the wicked, okay? And when you check out how basically this empire is run, and it is an empire, whenever you go into the history of the scriptures, you find out that every time that you had a financial system, okay, which the main financial system of this world right now is the dollar, then you had an empire. When you had a military system, of which the main military system of this world is what? Is America, then you had an empire. You regress backwards, you had the Byzantine Empire, they had their economic system, they had their empire, okay? Backwards, beyond that, you had the Roman Empire. They had their economic system, they had their military, and that was an empire. So right now, you go to where what? The American dollar, all right, is the empire, okay, is rather more, the American dollar is the main currency within the world. The American military is the military within the world. In fact, they had an article not long ago that was going into how America polices the world. And the proof of that is where you see the vast majority of weapons, okay, and what's known as aircraft carriers and all manner of things like that. The main country that's got all of that, or the country that has the bulk of that, is the United States. Because why? Because they run what happens within the world right now. Okay, so who is the wicked? Okay, or who? Let's touch on one point of that scripture. The earth is given into the hand. Okay, or where is the world right now? Who has the world in their hands right now? It's America, okay, the Edomite man, the red Hebrew Edomites that have the world in their clutches, in their grip, in their grasp right now, okay? So continuing here, it says the world is given into the hand of the wicked. Now I said that what? That basically you are going to identify who the wicked is, and you identify who the wicked is by what? By identifying what the righteousness, or what righteousness would look like, and then you go see the opposite of that. So what would righteousness look like, or what would a righteous empire look like? Go to the book of Proverbs, if I got it written down here. I think it's Proverbs 29:2. Okay, Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So you identify that scripture within the Bible. You identify that the scripture says that what? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. You do what's known as a deductive process. Okay, you basically make things make sense by what it says within the scriptures. Okay, you do maths. Okay, basic maths. Okay, and then you say, okay, is the righteous in authority? Well, you go and look at what the people are. The people are rejoicing. Then, if the people are not rejoicing, that means the wicked are in authority. Okay, and that's what the scripture says here. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And this is a very mournful state of living that we're in right now. I did a video yesterday again. Okay, I uploaded the video yesterday again, going into the state of giving birth out there within America. Okay, it cost the woman damn near $1 million to give birth to 3 children. Okay, so for the rest of their lives, that woman, the husband, the mother, that family, the husband, the mother, okay, and the subsequent 3 children, of which that's the first 3 lots. Who knows who can say if they're gonna have more? But the fact of the matter is, forever and ever, unless they have a miracle, they're gonna be forever in debt. Okay, and that's a state of being in mourning. And if you check out all of these people's finances, basically this world functions off of debt, and that's pursuant to the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, and around about the 6th verse, where it says, "Woe unto him that is laden with thick clay," because those thick clay go into the Hebrew word, it goes into the word "ibatya," which means debts. Okay, this is a world that functions off of debt, and when you're in a state of constantly repaying off of that debt and you're never coming out, you're in a state of mourning, man. People might not openly admit to that, but the reality is they're in a state of mourning, because you always got to wonder and worry, well, if you lose your job, well, guess what? You're going to declare for bankruptcy, okay? Because you're going to miss payments, man, all right? In fact, when you're talking about car notes, car loans, okay, mortgages and so on and so forth, that's a system of debt. And you look into a righteous society does not function on debt. Righteous society rather flourishes on the fact that people are going to have assets, which is land, okay, cattle, sheep. Whereas you live in this society, what does it function off of? It functions off of you borrowing money from some arbitrary bank over there somewhere and then paying that for the rest of your life. That is a state of mourning. Now let's expound upon that. Where does that money go? That goes to fund wars, man. Okay, you're paying mortgage payments, like, you're going to pay interest on that. That's going to go to a banker, but guess what? They're going to do something with that money. They're going to reinvest it in something else, right? That's where you get external contractors, okay, or different projects that they have out there, okay, out there within the different countries that are in the world. That's where you had the different projects like Afghanistan. That was a project to make money, man. Okay, funded by the elite banking families, but then also too, who gets the benefit of all that? They're also the subsidiary banks that pay to the elite bankers, man. Okay, so what's that all about? That's a state of mourning, because guess what? The people that are living out there in places like Sierra Leone, okay, where you got diamonds, you got silicon, okay, you got particular chemicals and minerals that make up modern day technology, or you're out there in Afghanistan where you got it to where you got opium and hence opioids, okay, you're in a state of mourning because you know that someone's gonna come and bum the hell out of your country to do what? To take what's yours, man. Okay, and that's why the scripture says that what? These guys who you know as the red Hebrew Edomites, they can't be satisfied, man. Because they're in every country, okay, stealing all the resources within the world, and they're heaping onto themselves all the people. So combining all of those ideas together, okay, you should be able to come to the spiritual, okay, the mathematical, okay, and the logical conclusion that the people that are in rulership right now, and you want to know who is in rulership, you want to identify what power is in rulership, you ask yourself what language is spoken out there in outer space. Okay, what currency is being used within the world? What's the main military what's the main military of the earth? And you come to the logical conclusion that the red Hebrew Edomites, they're the ones that are running things right out here right now, and therefore they are the wicked, man. Okay, so going back into the scriptures here, the book of Job, Proverbs 29 and 2, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Okay, and like I said, and like I've proven to you, the earth is in a state of mourning right now. Now let's go back into the book of Job, the 9th chapter, on the 24th verse. It says here, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. And the reason I pull that scripture is that what? That one of the main functions, okay, or one of the main tools that Esau uses is the first one, okay, the principal tool that he uses, okay, the principal weapon that he uses is the arms that he makes, okay, and that's going into the book of Isaiah, the 54th chapter. I'll get that right quick. Isaiah 54 and 16. Isaiah 54 and 16, it says, behold, I have created the smith, okay, that bloweth the coals and bringeth forth an instrument of his work. So basically, the Most High created the wicked, okay, and he gave the wicked the technology, okay, and the science, okay, to bring forth those instruments of war. All right, the Most High gave that understanding unto it. Okay, going back onto the book of Daniel, where the scripture says that what? Thou art wiser than Daniel. Because Daniel was like a high level intellectual, man. Okay, he was a high level dude, but guess what? All right, the Most High put Esau on a higher level, because he gets into everything, man. Okay, you talk about the technology that's just within the phone. That's a hell of a lot of technology that the Most High is giving unto Esau. Okay, talk about the technology that goes into a TV, how the signal goes into the cable line. Okay, the Wi-Fi. A lot of people don't understand how intricate and how precise these things have to be, man. Okay, you can't be off. You know, you go out there into certain fields, and you can be off by an inch, off by a mile. But when you're dealing with particular sciences, man, okay, you can't be off by an inch, off by you can't miscalculate, man. Okay, you gotta be on point, and that's how Esau. That's the blessing that the Most High gave unto Esau to the end. That he's on point with his technology. But guess what? All of that was to the express intent that he was going to use that technology to destroy himself, of which the main technologies that they came up with, that they excelled at, okay, was those ICBM nuclear weapons that the Most High is given unto them, and those are going to be the very instruments that's going to be to their demise, man. That's why the scripture says that what? The wicked is taken in his own craftiness. So here it is, they've crafted the plan, all right, going back onto the guys like Albert Pike, okay, and Aleister Crowley, and many other Freemasons and illuminaries, okay, that was heavy into those so-called mystics. They crafted the plan to take over the world by way of what? World War I, World War II, and World War III, okay? That's what they've crafted. But guess what? They wasn't doing that so that they was going to be in rulership. What they're going to find out is, and this is where you go into the book of Job, the scripture says that what? In the fullness of his sufficiency shall he be in straits. Meaning to say, one day they're about to achieve their so-called New World Order, the Most High was going to rain down the terrors on them. Because ultimately, when you're talking about the ethnic cleansing, or you're talking about the depopulation of the earth, that's really a plan of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Because the scripture says, if the wicked be increased, it's for the sword, man. Okay? If the wicked be increased, okay, you got to where there's wicked within the earth. All right, well, guess what? It's for the sword, man. Okay, this ain't a thing of what? This ain't a thing of Esau having control of the world. Really, it's the Most High that has control of everything that happens within the world, and he giveth that control to whomever he wants to fulfill what he wants to be fulfilled. And what he wanted to be fulfilled is that what? Is that Esau was going to go into power. It was going to bring forth instruments that was going to be to their own demise, man. Okay, so let's carry on here. Back within the book of Isaiah 54 and 16, it says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. I've created the waster to destroy. So the Most High created the waster, the ICBM nuclear missile. You got a lot of people that say, oh, you know, if there was a God, okay, why is there nuclear weapons within the earth? Okay, to fulfill God's purpose. Okay, That's what the Most High is. That's the question that people pose out there, and that's the simple answer. Why is there nuclear weapons within the world? To fulfill Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's purpose. Now let me show you something. The book of 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter. Okay, 2 Peter 3. And I can start from 3. Okay, 2 Peter 3 and 3, it says, knowing this first, okay, that in the last days there will shall come scoffers walking after their own lust. So that's the life that we're living in right now, where everybody has an opinion, okay? Everybody wants to come up against the standard, okay? Now when it comes to some rapper or some guy that's got some pseudosciences that he wants to break down, everybody holds that guy like he's deep. But when it comes to the men that was going to bring the truth and break down the intricacies of the Bible, everybody's got something to say, and that's the reality that we're living in right now. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody is a connoisseur, okay, of the script, the spiritual food, the spiritual wine that's coming from this book, okay. Now check it out. It says, knowing this first, that they shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lust. Because when it comes down to it, most of the people out here are just going out here to fill their own belly, okay, to satisfy the desires of their mind. Who's really living to a standard, man? Okay, the only people that's really living to some kind of standard, and I do say some kind of standard because the scripture talks about grace and it is not of works, is the men of the Lord, okay, that are pushing this word, man. Now, as for the rest of the people, they're doing whatever they want to do, because that's one of the mantras, okay, of the elite banking families, to do what thou wilt. Now, when you go into understanding of doing what thou wilt, that goes into self-destruction, okay? Because ultimately, when you're talking about longevity, then you have to have sacrifice. Let me give you an example. You got this dude that's in the news recently regarding sports, and you know I like the NBA, the basketball side of things when it comes to sports. Well, check it out. You got this guy, LeBron James. He was heralded as what? As the golden boy, right? Okay, the next generation of Michael Jordan or whatever. Now, check it out. He's had the longest athletic stint, okay, at peak, right, of any other athlete that's ever existed within the world. But he had to put that sacrifice in to stay at that point, man. Okay, so he couldn't do what he wanted to do to reach that point in terms of physical attributes. And the same thing applies to the spiritual side of life. You can't attain certain things spiritually, spiritual enlightenment. You got to sacrifice. Scriptural understanding of the Bible, you got to sacrifice, man. Okay, you talking about understanding the scriptures. Well, guess what? You got to understand history. History requires time. You got to sacrifice your time now. You might have to sacrifice your money. I mean, everything is on the internet now. But there was a time when you would have to piece off some money, okay, so you can get into the understanding of who the people that this Bible was speaking about were. Okay, the Egyptians, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, and so forth and so on, the Greeks, the Romans, okay, and more to the point, the Israelites. Okay, so everything is about sacrifice. So when you're going into doing what thou wilt, okay, there's no way you can attain any kind of anything without sacrifice. Okay, so that's how the elites, okay, have destroyed these people, and they basically got everybody on antidepressants, of which that benefits their money, okay, because you got to pay them for them antidepressants. But they got into it, all of these people are completely destroyed because they led them to believe doing what I will, which is great in the short term. Here it is, you're at the job, okay, some man's wife likes you and you go hit that. That's great in the moment. Let's just be real about it. That's great in the moment, but in the long run, that's when you're going to have problems, man. And when you go into the biblical understanding, really, that's punishable by death. The scripture says, thou shalt not commit adultery. And it also goes into what? It goes into, when you go into the book of Deuteronomy, I forget the exact citation. It says, if you find a damsel that is betrothed, okay, and it goes into if you find a damsel that's got a partner, etc., 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 okay, pretty much when you deal with that woman on an account of adultery, that was punishable by what? By death. So that gain, that was short-term gain, but in the long run, it was destructive, man. Okay, the same thing on how the family structure is set up. The scripture says that what? The man is the head of the household. But in the short-term gain, they'll speak about equality and this, that, and the third, but in the long run, that's completely destructive to what? To the family, because when you look at how the family's supposed to function from a psychological perspective, and any deep guy, when you're going into psychology, any deep guy will tell you that what? the dominant force that's supposed to be within the house is is a strong male, but that's supposed to be complemented with what? With a feminine female, man. Okay, but again, doing what thou will is going to destroy that, and then that plays into what? Into the plans of the elite banking families, because ultimately what they want to do is to what? Is to depopulate the earth. You go into and they used to have it on the Georgia Guidestones. They wanted to bring down the populations of the earth to a particular number, man. And that's why they got this New World Order happening. That's why they got Planned Parenthood happening. And that's why they got this mantra of doing what thou will. Because doing what you will is ultimately that's going to lead to what? Self-destruction. And that plays into what? Their New World Order agenda of depopulating the earth. I mean, the thing is simple, man. All you have to do is have a sensible mind, a logical mind, okay, where you can decipher these things. But going back onto the point, like I said a second ago, Job 9 and 24, okay, and subsequently the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter, all right, these are the secrets that they have out there and the plans that they have out there, of which the men of the Lord, the teachers of the word, was going to come out here and they was going to teach you about these things, okay? And as a result, we're going to become a threat to the very existence, the very fabric of the Red Hebrew Edomite Empire. Right, so the book of 2 Peter 3 and 3, it says, knowing this first, that they shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lust. So everybody's walking after their own mind right now. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got something that they want to do. But what's to be done is written within the scriptures. Fourth verse, and saying where is the promise of his coming, because that's where people, when they see that's where like people they think this whole thing of the scriptures is like a fairy tale, man. Because as far as most people are concerned, all right, the scriptures ain't being fulfilled. There's nothing happening in terms of the Bible. There's old time Bible times, okay? That's what most people say. But the reality is, when you go into prophecy, okay, what's prophecy? To say something before it happens, you find out that there's no such thing as times outside of Bible times. The times of the Romans were the Bible times. The times of the Greeks were Bible times. The times of the Assyrians, the Egyptians, and right up and down right now to America, okay, that's all times that was written about within the scriptures, right up until the time of what? Right up until the time of the Third World War, which is spoken about within the book of Revelations. A lot of people